Welcome back to the channel, guys. New daily means new video. So this is my 2022 Honda CR-V EX trim. I bought this car brand new, so it's time to give you guys a full video, show you guys all around, and at the end you guys want to stay tuned because I'm going to kind of compare this car to the new generation that had just come out. Now, a lot of you guys are probably wondering, why would you get this generation 2022 Honda CR-V when you know the 2023 is coming out? It's going to be a redesign, it's going to be a new interior, it's going to be all these things. And it's just because I really like this generation CR-V. I think that this design is just very nice, especially compared to the new one, which is, in my opinion, kind of bland in comparison to this car. This is very Honda. It just screams Honda, the design language, the curves, the lights, the wheels, everything about this car is just very great design for the 5th generation CR-V. Whereas the 6th generation, it kind of just reminds me of a Toyota RAV4, and you don't buy a Honda CR-V for it to look like a Toyota RAV4. Now, this is finished in the same color as my Accord, modern steel metallic, but there was no sport trim offered. So you got the LX, EX, EXL, at hybrid trims also, and then you have the touring. So this one does come with a sunroof, hole in the roof on the EX, standard, finished in modern steel just like my Accord. A lot of you guys have asked me, what happened to the Accord? Did you trade it in for this? And the answer is no. I still have the Accord, still in my family, but this is my new daily. It has the 1.5 liter turbocharged engine, the Honda L15 motor, same as the Accord, but this car just feels very different handling wise, as well as just driving it. It gets very similar MPGs though, and it's much more comfortable. Of course, we've got much beefier wheels, completely different suspension. These tires are very thick, so the ride quality is very nice on this car. So right now we're going to start her up. Very quiet car. It's a small 1.5 liter Honda engine. So to remote start this car, first you want to lock it, and you want to hold down this button. And she's started right up. Now the car does stay unlocked until you come up to it. You must lock it in order to be able to remote start it. One of my favorite features on this car are these taillights. They just look so great, in my opinion. Very nice taillights, and they complement the CR-V. So now we're going to jump into the back of the CR-V and check out the interior. So this one is finished in gray cloth. There was also a black option for the EX trim. As you guys can see, lots and lots of legroom back here. The new one I feel like is a little bit bigger, which you guys are going to see in the end, but for someone like me, this car is huge. You got lots and lots of legroom back here. Honda always does an incredible job optimizing the space that they have. As you guys can see, power sunroof, got the vents, and then we have USB, 2 of them. This is a 2022, by the way. And then we have storage back here, and that's about it for the back. From here, this is the cockpit view. So we have, once again, 2 USBs. We got a little storage cubby. We have 2 cup holders right here. And then we have lots and lots of storage in the center console, which is very customizable. As you guys can see, you can put this back, put it up, and it goes very deep. One thing I don't like is that the gas cap is not push button. You actually have to pull this like a 90s Toyota. Actually, Toyota still does that. I had the Camry rental and it still had that feature. This car does not have a heated steering wheel, but it does have heated seats on the EX trim, as you guys can see, for the front driver and the front passenger. Of course, it has push button start. My car right now is sitting at 1,500 miles. I bought it brand new with 10 miles on the dash. Interesting color contrast between this whitish grayish leather and then black on the dash. This one does not have heated steering wheel, but you can install it. All you have to do is change out the wheel, and you can buy that. I believe it's a $594 option. Mine is also all-wheel drive, which is pretty much the only option it came with. Got a sunglass tray right up here, and we also have this mirror right here. So if you guys got some kids in the back, you can do this and you can spy on them a little bit, make sure you're not getting out of hand. So these are the sunroof controls, as you guys can see. And then we have lots of room for bottles on the side over here. Honda always does a great job with that. For someone like me that always has water, lots of water and drinks in the car, that is a must for me. So you can put probably 2, 3 here, 2, 3 there, more water here, more water here. Really great ergonomics for the interior. Honda always knocks it out with the interior. I feel like seats are also very comfortable, not too stiff. Definitely would not mind a road trip in this car. My only gripe is this infotainment. It's very old, it's very outdated. We're going to get into that in just a second when I hop into the driver's seat. And also the steering wheel just does feel a little bit dated. Mind you, this model started in 17 model year, and it debuted in 2016. So of course the technology has advanced a huge way. Even the 2018 to 2022 the 10th generation Honda Accord has much better infotainment, and the steering wheel, I really miss having the hole here because it's a nice place to rest your hand on, and you can just drive like that. Of course this one does come with all the adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, all the Honda safety features, as you guys can see. A lot of dead buttons over here. I'm sure that if you got a higher trim, you would actually be able to use those. We have plastic pedals. I'm not a huge fan of plastic pedals. I mean, on the Accord Sport you do have metal, but that is a sport model and this is just an EX. Between the EX and the EXL, the only real difference is this power lift gate. On the EX, you actually have to pull the lift gate, and there isn't even a trunk button on the interiors, which is a shame. And also, another difference between the EX and the EXL is that on the EXL, you get power seats for both the driver and the passenger, whereas on this car, the EX, you only get power seats for the driver, which my passenger pointed out to me, and they said it's not fair. Of course, everyone knows the L in EXL stands for leather or luxury or whatever you want to call it. So this one does not have leather, which I don't really mind because cloth seats will keep you warmer in the winter time and colder in the summertime. They don't get easily as hot, but this color I would say is not the best because anytime you get it dirty, it's gonna show, and some of these stains are kind of hard to remove, like that black one. I don't even know how I got it, but it just does not want to come off. Interestingly, shifter is up here, whereas on the next generation the shifter is down here, kind of like the Accord. So this is more of like an Odyssey shifter. This car does have auto stop start, which you can turn it right off with the push of this button right here. Now going into the screen, this car kind of has a primitive layout in terms of the infotainment. It's not the worst, but it's definitely not the best. You do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. However, I would like to have at least the Accord's infotainment, but now they have a new infotainment that first came out with the Civic and then the HR-V, and now the next generation CR-V, and I'm sure the Accord will also have it as well, which is much more fluid. It just looks a lot better, a lot more modern. So over here in the instrument cluster, you do get alerts for any doors open, tailgate open. You get a nice graphic, as you guys can see. Inside you get some faux wood trim all over, but they do look really nice. In my opinion, I think it complements the look of the car very much. I really do like the interior of this car. It's very well laid out. You don't have a tune button on the side like the next generation has, and the Accord also has. The climate controls are very well laid out. It's easy to use. Everything is just very, very simple. You can get into this car and use it right away. So you have 3 different settings for the heated seats, 1, 2, and 3. You also have it for your passenger. And just everything just works really well in this car. I really do enjoy having this as a daily. It just works perfectly. Everything is as I'd expect. Everything is there. Everything is, so far in the 1,500 miles that I put on it, it's been totally trouble-free. No problems, no issues. Everything's just been great. Moving on to the tailgate, as you guys can see, we've got a ton of room back here. Indeed, the seats do fold down. Got this little thing you can use. You don't want to put it up like this or it'll block your view, which I learned hard way. But tons and tons of room back here. Underneath this, you just pull this little tab and then you've got your spare tire and your jack. But this is just huge, very, very practical car. Especially you fold down the seats, you get a ton of room. As you guys can see, street parking in New York City has not been too kind to this car. Literally the first day I got it out of the shop and I parked it on the street in Manhattan, and someone decided to bump into my bumper and crack it, so that was nice. But unfortunately with the EX, you do not get a power lift gate, so you gotta put it down yourself. Nice little thud. This one is not the front wheel drive, this one is the all-wheel drive version, which adds around $2,000 to the MSRP of this car. Really, really love this taillight design. I can't get over how nice it is. Just a very, very well-rounded car in general. So now we're gonna take it on a test drive. So as for the driving section of this video, we're gonna be taking it on the highway and then driving it in the city as well. This car, my first impressions was that it's very agile, especially for a car that's so high up. The steering feel is nice. Of course, it's electric power steering, just like the Honda Accord, but you don't get the leather wrap steering wheel. This is a very, very dangerous merge, as you guys can see, because there's no lane to merge in, and it kind of makes no sense. But I feel like this car is a little bit underwhelming. This 1.5 liter does not pull the weight of a 4,000-pound Honda CR-V as well as it does on, say, an Accord or a Civic. Yeah, as you guys can see, New York driving, pretty crazy. Yeah, don't do that, guys. But once you get it past 70, it gets up to 100 pretty easily, pretty effortlessly. I plead the fifth on whether or not I have done that or how I know this information. But the turbo sounds nice. It gets you up to speed, but not as fast as I would like. I mean, this engine is more tuned for fuel efficiency rather than performance, which obviously shows. But I think that Honda could have done a better job by putting a 2-liter in this car, a 2.0 turbo from the Accord and the Civic Type R, maybe detuned and tuned more for fuel efficiency as opposed to speed and fun. But once you put it into sport mode, this car is kind of aggressive. The turbo definitely kicks much harder. I'm sure it's getting much more boost once you put it into sport mode, but in regular driving mode, and I have it set to economy, I feel like it's just a bit underwhelming, a little bit sluggish. Not that this is supposed to be a fast car, and Honda knows that the people that are going to be buying this are not going to be buying it for speed, but I feel like the handling's pretty good. Definitely much better than, say, some competitors in that segment. I know the Mazda, even with the 2.5 liter turbo, is pretty slow. And then we have the RAV4, which is a very boring car to drive. So I guess it's better than that, but I think an RDX, for example, would have been just way much more fun with the 2-liter 10-speed automatic transmission. So that's my take on it. I don't think that this drives bad or anything. It drives really, really nice, especially on the highway. This is a great highway cruiser. We're doing a little night drive because the daytime has ran out. But in the city, you get decent gas mileage comparable to the Accord. I'm getting 21 miles to the gallon, but that's because I drive pretty aggressively, and in New York City you get abysmal gas mileage because driving on the highway is pretty much driving in the city. It's like almost like it's no difference. So that's my combined, and I've only put 2,500 miles at the time of this recording. I feel like this is a good car to have in the city. It's small enough to where you can reasonably fit in most parking spots, which is a big deal. I feel like if I got like a Pilot or a Passport, I couldn't say the same. There's a lot of ground clearance in this car, which is a double-edged sword because, you know, your cats might get stolen, but that's good for, you know, jumping curves if you need to drive on the sidewalk, which, you know, in New York City sometimes you really got to do that because some people are double parked or whatever. So the nice thick sidewall is definitely good for that, and driving this car is fun sometimes, but other times it just feels really sluggish, especially on the highway, especially when you need to merge. You could really use that extra 0.5 liter, and if they had put a 2 liter inside this car. So I'm sure like something like the RDX's motor would have been perfect. That's my only gripe. Other than that, everything is really, really nice. The steering's responsive. As you guys can see, 2 people stopped at us all the way forever. I don't know what they're doing. Other than that, really nice driving car, great highway cruiser, great fuel economy, and that just about does it for the driving section of this video. Is it just me, or does it look way too much like a RAV4? And I feel like this generation is just much more CRV, whereas this is kind of toned down in many ways, as you guys can see. Hopefully you guys like, comment, subscribe, and enjoyed this comparison of the 22 to the new generation, and I'll see you guys on the next one. For an all-wheel drive EX trim, this one has no extra features besides the color, $395, but it starts off way more expensive than the 2022 at $34,250. Mine was I believe $39.50. And this is actually the base model now, no more LX trim, at least in the US. So here we have the 2023 all new. I feel like it looks way too much like a RAV4. This one is finished in radiant red pearl, as you guys can see. Different wheels. I just feel like it looks a lot more bland as compared to the previous generation CRV. Lots and lots of cargo room, lots of space. Honda always does a good job of optimizing all the space that they can. But the previous generation CRV was just such a unique, nice design. I feel like this is a lot more toned down, a lot more conservative styling. Hopping onto the back seats. There's plenty of room here back here. Tons and tons of leg room. I mean, you just don't even feel like you're in a kind of crossover compact SUV. This is like full-size room. Honda always does an incredible job with the room. As you guys can see, we have vents just like the previous generation, and one storage compartment on the passenger side. We have updated infotainment. We have different drive modes, as you guys can see. Slightly different interior. The seats are totally different. As you guys can see, we have the black with the gray. The new screen, still have the sunroof, as you guys can see. Right now we're going to jump into the 2023 Honda CR-V. This is also the EX trim, meaning it comes with cloth seats, same color as mine except with these black inserts. It's got the sunroof, very similar car. As you guys can see, we've got an updated infotainment, totally different screen. This is kind of like the only, I think, major improvement from the 2022 model year, as you guys can see. We have different drive modes as well, which is pretty interesting, that you can flick it back and forth for that. Very similar interior layout. We don't have the sliding back and forth. storage compartments over here, as you guys can see. This one has USB-C, USB 2.0, totally updated steering wheel, new interior, same as the Civic pretty much, and the HR-V. I tend to like this interior a lot, and this infotainment is miles better than the previous generation. But other than that, in terms of looks and design, I'm not the biggest fan of the exterior, but the interior does feel and look very, very nice. Hope you guys enjoyed this video of my new daily, this 22 Honda CR-V, and you guys were deciding between the 22 and the 23. I would definitely get this one. It's a lot cheaper. In my opinion, it looks better, but if you guys want to go for the newer generation with newer tech, better infotainment, then you would go for the 2023. But I just really love this car. I'm digging it. Make sure you guys leave a like. Costs nothing, and it helps me a lot with the algorithm and stuff. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you guys want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you guys on the next video.